The next question, both of you guys are, in some aspects, very different candidates. Just in general, Chris, to start off, what do you think of your opposing candidate, and what do you think really just point blank separates you from?
I think some of my leadership experiences here on this campus. As the Vice President of Presidential Envoys, I get to interact with the Alumni Association and get to see their needs and what it's like to be a student after college. I mean, to be an Osprey after they leave this campus. And so I get to see their needs, and so how we can help them if they were students still. That would have been great. Also, being the Director of Student Life, I get to see where they are, and I get to see, what programming ideas, work and what they don't work. At the same time, I've had many, great opportunities to get to pour into this school, and that's what I'm very excited about, is my passion and my heart for this campus. I think that's a big difference, because I love this university so much, and I want to see it succeed. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running for student body president, is because I want to make sure that when I look back, I gave everything I had to this university.
Thank you, Chris. Matt, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I would say what separates me is, if you look at what I've done over my past 3.5 years here, I've done leadership roles in all these different facets of campuses. I've been president of a fraternity. I've done community service on behalf of the honors program. I've represented the Coggan College of Business students as a senator. So I've done all these things. I've dipped my hand in a lot of different pots. I haven't just stayed to one end of the campus. Presidential envoys. I was in that. It was great. But this isn't about the alumni. This is about the current students. With our positions in SG this year, I guess one of the questions I would have, which students would probably, is being the Director of Student Life this year. You said that you've had your platform out for the past semester, but that was your job for this semester. Where have some of these ideas been? Why haven't they happened already?
Chris, do you have a rebuttal?
I do. Right now, I think it's a bit bold that I'm getting called out on my job description, because I made sure that I did everything I can. So that's why I wrote the Osprey Creed under C2's administration. That's also why John Delaney helped ask us to potentially rewrite a new alma mater. And that's why there's proposed focus groups going on currently here. That's why also I put on Swoop the Loop here on this campus that had 687 participants. But if you were to ask my competitor about his different participations or why he's no longer a presidential envoy, or just about some of his other things here on this campus, I want to make sure that I did my job, and I did it to the full potential of my ability, and I gave everything I had to this campus.
Thank you. The next question, obviously one thing that is a big separator between the two of you is one of you is Greek, one of you is not Greek. In terms of how the Greek society in general plays a role in UNF, talk about the role in all facets of the school, and how if there's a difference at all between the Greek part of the school and the not Greek part of the school.
I think that the difference is just the title of being Greek. I've battled the Greek stereotype for 3 years. I know it exists. I know that people are kind of wary when it comes to, hey, Greeks are in control here. But the fact of the matter, if you look at clubs, if you look at people who are involved in all different areas of campus, there are a large number of Greeks. And it's not something that I want to shy away from, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that I'm just doing this for the Greek constituency, because there are 16,000 students here, not just the 1,200 Greeks on this campus.
Chris?
I think that's one of the great things about me and Robin, is that we both represent different parts of this campus. She's very involved with Greek life here on campus, and I'm not a Greek on this campus, and that's something that I can come out and say here. But at the same time, Greeks have a very large constituency on this campus. I want to make sure that other people have their voice heard, and other students who are not Greeks have their opportunity heard, and they can relate to someone who's not Greek, and they're not just saying, oh, well, you're not going to understand me because you're Greek. And I want to make sure that they know that. And so that's one of the things I'll be able to be relatable to as a student.
All right, at this time, we're going to go into a part of the debate where we have a question directed towards each individual, and it'll still be the same rebuttal format, except, like I said, first we're going to start off with a question that's directed directly towards Matt, and then after the rebuttals on that question, we'll go ahead and have a question directed towards Chris. Matt, at this time, you had a statement on your Facebook recently. It depends on what point of view you're looking at, but basically the statement says, several of our campus clubs and Greek organizations have attempted to carry the weight alone. Enough is enough. It's time for students and student government to make serious effort to help those currently doing the work. Go from there with that question.
Sure, and if you look at the rest of the context of it, I was talking about the tailgates and why the tailgates this year haven't seen the amount of attendance that we've all wanted them to see. And specifically that was going to one of our initiatives about athletics, which is capitalizing on the rivalry between JU and UNF. And what I said there was the tailgate before the JU game this year, it's sponsored by a couple campus clubs. Campus Outreach is one of those, and the Greeks participate in tailgates. But that's not enough. We need student government to get involved. I think that going into next year, a huge thing is if that entire day before the JU game there were just a ton of activities going on. Students almost can't help but interact with the whole situation. Like Courtney has said it best on multiple occasions. She said that our goal here is really to make the professors feel almost guilty about keeping their kids in class. So that's what that quote was referencing.
Thank you, Chris.
It seems that my opponent's going back and forth a little bit, that he calls it a Band-Aid when they're trying to have events on things, but then at the same time he doesn't want to herd students to events that promote school spirit. But this is something that that's why we have a school. We want to create a school spirit agency. That's why we care about things, because we want to make sure that students go to all the events and they're proud of them, and that not just certain affiliations or certain clubs get to go to these tailgating events or that are a part of them. We want to make sure everyone has a voice in these things.
Matt?
If anything, I would just say that I proved my point. We don't need a school spirit agency to do these things. And furthermore, it's not that I'm going back and forth on the issues. What I'm saying is I believe that the red team's focus is correct, and I believe that we are on the right track here. So I think if you take everything into consideration, we don't need a school spirit agency to do these things. We can do them already, and we should be doing them already.
Okay, this next question is obviously directed towards you, Chris. In general, you mentioned that you have had a lot of involvement with different organizations and clubs on campus. However, in terms of the level of involvement that you've had with various organizations and how that has impacted those organizations, and also your current attempt to run for president, a lot of people have had a lot of questions about your various involvements. How do you feel about different questions and your various involvements on campus?
To be honest, it comes as a bit of a shock to me that people have questioned my involvement in things. No, I wasn't a senator, so I didn't sit in on every single Senate meeting that is mandatory for them to sit on. But at the same time, I've lived on campus for 3 years, and I've been a part of so many different events here on this campus that it's hard to keep track of. The diversity of events and participation levels that I've had is it's off the charts when it comes to that kind of stuff. I've made sure that I've been on many different committees here on this campus. I've had a large role in student government this year, being the director of student life. Also, with my role as presidential envoy. I've been a vice president of a club here on campus, and I've been a member, of 7 or 8 other clubs. And I've been a huge member in the Ultimate Frisbee Club here on campus, and they always participating in events that they're doing. I've been a part of a lot of different events here on this campus, and I go to every single athletic event.
Matt?
I'm not really going to speak on Chris's involvement or whatever, but just to kind of go off of mine, I guess if you want to take the same question toward me, the advantage I think that I've had from being in student government over the past couple years in various roles is that I know the rules to play the game, and it's really that simple. Being Attorney General, it was my job to be almost more familiar than any other student in student government with the rules and with the process of things. And I would just say that when it comes down to the time when administrations have to get things done, we need to know what we can and can't do. We need to know the rules behind how we can spend certain fees. And it's just that's where I feel my specific experience in student government has given me a lot of different perspectives on all of these issues.
Chris, do you have a rebuttal?
Yeah. And at the previous debate, that's something that I made clear that it was his job to know the Constitution. So he probably does know the Constitution better than anyone else. But at the same time, it was my job to be involved in students' life and to hear what the the voice of the students is. And so I made sure I did that. I was out with the students. I was participating in their events. I was putting on their events. And so I made sure that I had a great my thumb was on the heartbeat of campus. I'm on the heart of the campus.
The situation as of late with the African American Student Union was a big test for the last administration. And we don't want to specifically talk about that situation, but just in general, in the future, when you guys are possibly president, if you have a situation where you have to choose a side that is unpopular with some, or just in general, come to a situation similar to that, how would you feel you would approach a situation with multiple sides and multiple opinions? Matt?
Yeah, I think the key here, and at this time, this is right when I stepped down from Attorney General, so I'm not sure everything that went on behind the scenes. But the key is to kind of control things before they get out of hand. A lot of students on both sides of the argument simply felt that in one way or another they were disrespected. And neither side really wanted to give up much ground, it seemed like. So it's really stopping the beast before it gets out of control. And that's something that going into next year that we understand very well. And it's something that if a situation like this ever came up again, that we would do our best to diffuse it and to kind of just sit in a room together and figure out, okay, let's put our own pride and our own differences aside. Let's figure out what's best for the student body as a whole.
As a student, running for student body president and being a PR major, one of the things that I'm learning a lot about in school and that I hope to do after school is to be involved in crisis management. And a big part of crisis management is fixing that problem beforehand, putting out the fire before it even starts, and to make sure that you don't have an environment that's easily available for students to start hypothetical fires. And so I don't think that should be an area that we should have to worry about. It's because we'll always make sure that we take the steps needed to do the right thing, to follow the rules the correct way, and to make sure that whether it's a hiring process or a conduct issue or whatever it may be, that it's handled the proper way, and that we're listening to the student's voice and we represent our students.
Matt, do you have a rebuttal?
Yeah. And just to reiterate, I think that the main problem here is that people just felt like they weren't being understood. And that's really what it comes down to. It just comes down to the realization that we're all different people. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different opinions on a lot of different things. And really, to kind of all get along, we just need to take a step back and look at where we're all coming from and evaluate it on a whole basis, and not just, we can't go in there thinking that we're right and they're wrong.
To end the debate, we'd like to give you guys the opportunity to have a short closing remark just to discuss everything that's gone on and just to give us a way to end the debate. So Chris, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been great to share our differences and our similarities here on campus. I really stand firm behind the Gray and Blue Party. I believe in our mission and I believe in our cause. I think that we can do great things, and I know that we will do great things for this university when it comes time if we are put into office. I believe in each one of our senators and their individual differences that they have and the beauty of that diversity. Also at the same time, I believe in myself and Robin. I think we can do great things, and I know that we'll do great things if we're placed into office. I believe that we can make a difference for a better North Florida, and I want to change this whole campus and make it great. I want people to be proud that they're Ospreys.
Matt?
When it comes down to it, I want every student to just literally go out and look at all candidates. I'm not going to say just look at red. I want everyone to get an informed view of all of us before they make their decision. Speaking for Red Party, there are 27 of us that are going to be in the election. If you count our core team and our just like local close group of supporters, it gets to about 40. And that's a group of students who, a lot of these senators are young. A lot of them, they aspire to be the next attorney general. They aspire to be the next director of an agency. And so, every one of our candidates passionately believe in what we're doing and, are going to give everything they have to make sure everything that we are behind is going to turn into a reality for the students next year. And again, thank you so much for hosting the debate. I look forward to the elections. It's going to be a great battle between the two parties. And, just thank you guys.
On behalf of UNF Morning, we'd like to thank both Matt Brockelman and Chris Warren to agreeing to come out to this debate today, and good luck to both of you in the upcoming election.
Thank you.
Good luck, Matt.